We have a quorum, so we're going to call this meeting of the Nacogdoches CVB Board of Directors to order. First order of business is consider approval of minutes from the May 17th board meeting.
I move approval of minutes from the May 17th board meeting. Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion of the minutes? There being none, all in favor of approving as submitted? Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes are approved. Our treasurer is not with us yet, so we're going to, if it's okay with everybody, we're going to hold off on the financial update. I think Katie will actually be here very shortly, so we're going to let her run through our finances. In the meantime, let's move on to the next item. There are no objections. And the next item is the appointment of officer nominating committee. According to our bylaws, no later than the regularly scheduled June meeting each year, the chairman of the board is to appoint a 3-member nominating committee whose job it is to submit a recommended board or a slate of candidates no later than the September or August meeting, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, the August meeting. And since we have a 7-member board, and traditionally nominating committee members do not nominate themselves, it makes for an interesting kind of exercise. So I am going to appoint a nominating committee consisting of myself, Rick Still, and Katie Kennedy. And the 3 of us will make a recommendation to the board for a new slate of officers no later than the August board meeting. Next item of business is to consider the approval of the appointment of an executive director selection committee. As all of you know, our executive director is leaving us at the end of the month for, I don't want to say greener pastures, it's West Texas.
Blue sky.
There are pastures, but they're not
bigger sky. And so we need to talk about how we want to handle this. And here again, with a 7-member board, my sense is that we are too small to do some things effectively. We are too large to manage a search ourselves as a full board. And so what I would like, so we can discuss this, is a motion to approve the appointment and function of an executive director selection committee.
I move we appoint a nominating committee.
We have a nominating committee. You mean a selection committee?
Selection committee.
Good.
Yes.
Second?
I'll second.
All right. Discussion. My initial inclination when Carl told us that he was moving on was that we could probably do this ourselves. I come from a business where if I have a job open and I post the job, I get 50 qualified candidates in 30 days, all with the right credentials. I forget sometimes that not every business works that way. And then I got to thinking about my schedule. And those of you who went through this before remember what a time-consuming task it was and how difficult it was to generate solid leads for potential candidates in a business that we just didn't have a lot of expertise in. At the time, we had Steve Powell working as our consultant, and Steve was great, but he wasn't an executive search guy. While he knew the industry, he didn't have the ability to go out there and find those candidates either. Now, I had a chance to have some conversations with folks at the city and realize that we probably need to think about doing it different. We have a small staff, a new staff to a great extent, staff that doesn't have a lot of experience in this particular industry. And so I kind of pivoted 180 degrees after spending some time looking at the job description. And the more I read through the job description that we had used last time, thinking about how we might utilize that again and make this happen, I started running across some real fuzzy terms. And when we did our marketing plan, I was pretty adamant that we'd be able to measure the things that we said we were trying to achieve. And I started thinking about that, reading through that job description, where I started seeing terms like tenacity and passion. And while those are great things, they're hard to quantify. And so I really got to thinking, given the position that we're in, and regardless of the fact that we are looking for another executive director, we are in a very different place than we were 2 years ago. I think we're in a much better place than we were 2 years ago. But I also think that we need to take it to the next level, and that means finding somebody who can help us bring in somebody who really knows this business and helping us find the best qualified candidate. And probably engaging the services of a professional interim director as well. I've had occasion to reach out to a couple of folks who are in this business, and there are professional interims who can be engaged on a temporary basis, typically retired CVB people or chamber people who know the industry, who are willing to step in on a temporary basis until a permanent solution can be found. And so my recommendation would be, after spending a lot of time thinking about this and talking to folks, that the board authorize the appointment of an executive director selection committee with the authority to engage the services of a temporary professional interim director and figure out the best process, the best people, the best options for us as a board moving forward, and to come back to the full board no later than June 5th with a recommendation.
July
5th. No, June. I figured we'd just wait a year. No later than July 5th. However, I would like this committee to have the authority to engage an interim director for a period of no more than 120 days without further board approvals. Because my conversation suggests that if we want to find somebody, they're there and then they're not. And so we don't want to miss an opportunity by waiting a couple of weeks to say yes. So that's where I'm at.
Well, I have to agree with everything you said. I don't think in today's world, as we found out last time, that we're going to just, through our own initiatives, go out and find somebody for this particular job. As you indicated, we're kind of unique. We're not in a metropolitan area where a lot of these people maybe are and function in that environment. So for us to find the right kind of person, we're going to need some help. And it worked. It worked well last time. And so we need to give that some real serious thought.
Does that need to be made part of the motion that we would not only appoint search firm?
We would need a motion that approves the appointment and either allows the chair to charge the committee or specifically authorizes the committee to do certain things.
No, I agree. We have, as you stated, new members of our staff, and I think we need to get somebody in with some experience on the interim basis to help us transition in the professional search. Very necessary.
If there's nothing else, then the chair would entertain a motion to approve the appointment of an executive director selection committee with the authority to engage the services of an interim director for a period of no more than 120 days, and to come back to this board no later than July 5th with a recommendation for next steps in the process.
I so move.
I'll second.
Any discussion further?
If that 120-day period came to an end and we needed to extend it, we could also do that by motion of the motion of the board, right?
Yeah. This is just to kind of get us into the process.
Perfect.
Any further discussion?
The position hasn't formally been posted anywhere, right?
All in favor of the motion as submitted, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Thank you. Given the fact that as board chair, I'm going to have to be responsible for a lot of the point work on this, and it's not because I'm not trying to take over. I'm just in a position where I have to be part of some of this. I'm going to ask that the selection committee that I'm going to appoint is going to consist of myself and Kelly Daniel and Shirley Luke. And we will visit briefly after this meeting about setting up a time to visit with the people who know how to get this stuff done and get somebody in place as quickly as possible. Okay. Committee reports. We are not going to hear from Katie until she gets here. Ms. Lassiter is not here to give us a report on leisure. John, how's everything?
We have a place for conventions.
That's a good update.
We're actively pursuing this, but yeah, we just an update. I'll give an update on soon the entity, and it looks like next week the convention center will be available to the public, so we're really excited about that. Getting to finally do something, be a great experience for us. So, but that's where it's consuming a lot of my time right now. So we're working on. We have some places to put people, so we just got to get some more in. That's all I got.
Okay. Shirley, have you guys had any more conversations?
We have had several conversations, and what I think we've realized is that chamber staff needs to be really proactive in working with local organizations. There are opportunities out there to have events here in town, different kinds of sporting tournaments that aren't affiliated, typically, or a lot of them aren't affiliated with school districts, such as soccer and softball and baseball, washers,
Really?
frisbee golf, football. And so we decided that probably the best place to start with this was just to have a document so that, the chamber staff basically has a list of what those opportunities might be, and that this document would be updated from time to time as new sporting events, come into fashion. And, a lot of times it's working with, like, for example, the Nacogdoches, the Youth Baseball Association here in town. They have a new president every 2 years, and that president may not be aware that there are funds here that we could go out and try to bid on a tournament to be held in Nacogdoches. And other cities, are very actively, doing this, and they have, a procedure, a process in place for recruiting these tournaments, and we just don't have that. And so chamber staff needs to work, with those officials for the different youth sport leagues here in town to see what the opportunities are, what that league is interested in doing. They have to, be interested in pursuing these opportunities. It shouldn't be something that we try to do on our own, but where we have the ability to help them organize and to pool resources that would allow them to host these events, we needed a document, just to kind of get that process started. So I've worked on creating that, and we'll be sharing it with Joanna and see what we need to do to make it part of kind of a procedure manual almost.
Okay. I imagine a lot of that is dependent on who the people are who are leading those various community associations at any given time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes.
And those turn over, I mean, the baseball, the soccer, those turn over annually?
Every 2 years. Now, wait, you sent me an email yesterday that said every 2 years.
Baseball is the only one that turns over every 2 years.
Okay.
So she has that in there that baseball is every 2 years. Soccer and softball, sometimes they're lifetime appointments. I mean, Heck, Scotty Spade was president for like 5 or 6 years, and he just finally said, okay, my kids are out of soccer, I'm done.
They're there till they age.
Jason Smith will be president of softball for a couple more years until his daughter's no longer playing, and then he'll be done. But so there's not a turnover with those two. Baseball is every 2 years, period.
More formal structure. Foot golf.
Soccer.
There was actually a lower tier state tournament, foot golf, held here a few weeks ago that virtually nobody knew about. And it even slipped me. I didn't realize it until I think 2 weeks prior to.
There's an upper tier foot golf league?
Yes, there is. There's different classifications. You have semi-professionals and professionals. And
what?
It's just like
foot golf is McLaren kicking the ball out of the rough when nobody's looking.
It's just like ball golf or frisbee golf. It is becoming more and more popular. Foot golf is played on a golf course, and there are 18 holes spaced out over the front 9 of a ball golf course.
Okay.
And it's played just like ball golf, and that is you tee off with a soccer ball, and it's how many strokes it takes you to get into the hole.
Oh, soccer ball. Okay, that helps.
The hole is approximately 2 feet diameter, and that's your
okay.
And we have a course.
That's
and there's a course here at Woodland Hills.
Yeah, I saw the sign.
It's a lot of fun to play, especially with kids. Because they have an adult tee box and a kid's tee box, and there's a big difference. So you can actually go out and be competitive with your 12-year-old. I have to try to beat my daughter. I don't.
Yeah, how's that working out for you, Brent?
She got
It's been a learning experience.
Interesting. Okay, well, another opportunity. We are in the midst of our committee reports, and we skipped the financial update until you got here, so we will back up momentarily.
Okay.
Rick, annual events?
Yes. Our committee put together a couple of months ago some documents to help funding criteria that groups would need if they're going to petition the CVB for funding. And those documents are at your station. I'm not certain that they necessarily need approval or anything, but they're there. If you see something that you might just take them with you, and if you see something that you need clarified or needs changing or whatever, then let us know. We worked with Joanna on this very carefully. And what we tried to do, because we had so many different forms that had been used over the years, and we just sort of scrubbed through that and broke it down to the bare minimum, because the more paperwork involved with funding, the more difficult it is for a group to complete that process, and therefore they just back off. And so we wanted to make this as simple as we could, but yet get the information that we absolutely had to have. And so that's what these documents represent.
My reading through this stuff suggests that it's kind of what we've tried to do in the past year or so.
Yeah.
But a little more detailed structure about how it's supposed to work. I noticed that under the application process in item E, that final approval of all funding requests will be made by the CVB board as a whole.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the committee's role is essentially to make recommendations for funding to the board, which is exactly what we anticipated and wanted it to be. Any questions about this?
Should we give some kind of a press release to let people know?
Yeah, that was the only thing. How are we going to let people know that this exists is my only question.
Or like put it to the document process on the website or something?
I'm happy to do that.
We should be able to do that. Right?
Yes.
Okay. And we have in our current budget some funds available for this kind of thing, and in our proposed budget for the next fiscal year we have something. So the job now is to get the word out. Thank you, Rick. Kelly, Board Training and Development.
Yes, we haven't met this last month, but I did review notes from past meetings, and I came across something we kind of casually discussed in our past meetings, but could have a big impact, I think, with our visitor center and other things, good things in Nacogdoches. One was to really get to know the new website, and I actually did sit down and take time to go through visitnacogdoches.org. I came across things I had not done before, so I'm looking forward to some new experiences, and that's why I've named this Summer Fun Challenge. So going through the attractions, the family fun, arts and entertainment, there's a restaurant section, step into history, outdoor rec and nature, all that. I came across several things that I'm going to try, so thanks for informing me. And the next thing, and this was something Greg Salad brought up, he had recently gone through a training for his position with the police department as community liaison, and he actually had a training on social media. And he said it really does impact the community when your organization, posts things on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, all that good stuff. Katie's shaking her head too. So please post things you're doing out and about when you are going through these things that are listed, these items of fun, to do in Nacogdoches. With pictures, as Greg said, video is even better. And if that's just not your thing, if you're not tweeting every day, then go to the CVB's Facebook page or other social media sites and just share. And that has a big impact too. I've seen that in other places as well. And the other thing is TripAdvisor. And I've talked to Joanna, Stephanie, and Sherry before about TripAdvisor. I haven't really gotten into it myself, but I'm challenging myself to do this more this summer as well. I went back and looked at my TripAdvisor stats, and I haven't done that many, like I said, but I did review 4 months ago this restaurant, the Liberty Bell. And just last week, 59 travelers read my review. And rating is just marking the stars, and review is 3 sentences. And I usually try to throw a photo in that too because you're doing it on your phone, right? The Visitor Center, there's a review on TripAdvisor for the Visitor Center, and 42 travelers read that review last week. So it breaks it down like what just has recently happened. So I thought that was really cool. I really encourage you to do that. 3 things. Explore the website, post or share on social media, and review and rate sites in Nacogdoches on TripAdvisor. People will read it and use it. Make an impact. That's it. That's my report. You do? Do you, when you travel? Or
TripAdvisor is my go-to.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure.
At the last meeting, I mentioned that I thought your committee was the appropriate place to look at some bylaw revisions, as we talked about before.
Yes.
I will get you some suggestions very shortly for some significant rewrites of bylaws that I want the board to take up at the next regularly scheduled meeting.
Okay.
Okay. as we've gotten into with Carl leaving, I had occasion to read the bylaws a little more closely in certain places. And these were really written for a much larger board to a greater extent and have not been revised to suit our particular purposes in the way that they might need to. So I think we need to look at that and see if we want to make that happen fairly quickly. Katie, how you doing? We're going to back up to item 3. No one has any objections to the financial report.
Excuse me, taking a break. I'm going to let my washing machine before we begin. We have our statement of financial position, our checking and savings accounts. For our assets, we have $103,777 in our First State Bank and Trust account. Bancorp South, which is our reserve account, $166,849. Citizens First, it's a 6-month CD, $21,819. The CBTX Special Activities, $34,482. Petty cash is at $100. Regions Bank CD, 14 months, $33,722 for a total of $360,750. Our fixed assets, we've got some amortization there. The car line linkages go ahead and remove from the financials. That's been liquidated and taken care of. Furniture and equipment, $27,091. Closet improvements, $38,934. Wayfinding signs, $186,375. Less depreciation, $221,439. And then other assets due from the IRS, $2,179.39. Due from Quality Inn, $1,080. And membership dues receivable, $950. So that's a negative $150 roughly. Total assets, $582,041.17. And then under our liabilities and net assets, those are all payroll liabilities for $444.93 payroll taxes. And then net assets, we have payroll tax, SUDA overpayment, $230.93, temporarily restricted assets, $290,148, unrestricted net assets, $415,183, excess of unrestricted revenue over or under expense, were under expense of $123,967, for a total net assets of $581,596, and then our total liabilities and net assets $582,041. And then whenever I was reviewing our current expenses versus annual budget, I did not really see anything that jumped out at me. Unless anyone else saw anything. I know that when we went through the budget process, there were some of these line items that we were reviewing and seeing if we could make some changes, but I didn't see anything on here that stood out to me. Anybody has a question?
Yeah, I think that the items that were unclear were cleared up pretty well at the budget workshop. Any questions about the financials? Where are we with our contacts? So many more checks do we have? We should have one more. And then we do that next fiscal year. So, thank you, Katie. Carl, Executive Director's report.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, for those that have not met our new marketing director, now being an old Florida cracker, I had to do this phonetically since she just changed her name. Ballard was a lot easier. But it's Stephanie Fontenot. And Stephanie's been with us about 3 weeks now, somewhere around there, and is doing a great job. She's playing catch up very quickly. has put together lots of things for us in the last 3 weeks, so she's jumped right in, and we're very excited to have her on board, and I think she's going to do a wonderful job for the organization. Facebook had 8,297 followers as of 6/16, which last year was probably in the 600s, so we're really moving forward with that. Website had 6,278 unique visitors in May, with 76.6% of the website viewers new. So we're staying in that 3/4 or above range of people looking at the website, which is a very good indication for us. Top 5 countries viewing the website were United States, UK, Germany, India, and Canada. Top 5 states viewing websites were Texas, Louisiana, Florida, California, and Arizona. And the top 5 cities viewing, excuse me, top 5 inquiries for information from our different ads were Texas, Louisiana, California, Utah, and Arizona. We had 1,165 walk-ins in May, which was up from 1,116 last year, about 4% increase. Top 5 walk-in states were Texas, Louisiana, Illinois, Arkansas, and Virginia. The top 5 walk-in cities were Houston, Georgetown, Midland, DFW, and Corrigan. I heard of Corrigan, I'm not sure where it is, but top 5 ways that they heard about us were from family and friends, SFA, Texas Highways, website, and social media. This one's always interesting for us because this gives us an opportunity to know from our marketing standpoint the top 5 areas of interest, and most of these are pretty consistent. The top 5 were history, antiques, arts and culture, shopping, and the outdoors. So we're still, especially those top 3, are pretty much always in the mix. May, we had 2 meetings for a total of 303 room nights at economic impact of $181,704.49. We obviously plan on seeing a lot higher revenues on that coming up soon due to our new convention facility. And now this is very exciting for me personally. In May, we get a monthly STAR report, which is Smith Travel Research Report, and it covers the top 10 out of 13 hotels in the city. And it gives us information on their occupancy, their average daily rate, the revenue per room, occupied room, and revenues. And for May, we had 10.4% increase in occupancy over last year, a 3.4% increase in the average daily rate, a 14.1% increase in the revenue per occupied room, and a 14.1% in revenue. But take this for over the last 3 months, we are now showing a trend. For the last 3 months, we have seen an increase in all the different areas from occupancy, RevPAR, and revenue. So hopefully, with the completion of all of our construction on the south end of town, we can see that it hopefully is now moving forward, and we're going to continue to see a steady increase. We have coming up on this Saturday is the Major League Fishing Series kickoff on CBS, and there's going to be a thing held at Frog starting at about 1 p.m. The show starts at 2 p.m. If anyone would like to come down and take a look at it and see how well we are portrayed in this series, it's going to be about 6 weeks of this coming up, but this will be the first one kicking off. So put on your fishing attire and come down with little things that they cast. I'm not a fisherman, so I can't help you with that. But anyway, come on down and check it out. It ought to be fun. As you know, we're looking at trying to complete the audits, the 2015, 2016. I have been doing some research, talking with some different organizations, getting some different information, and that will be available to the board shortly for your to look at and make some decisions. And last but not least, I just want to say thank you for this opportunity that you all have given me. It's been a great, wonderful time here. I learned a lot about East Texas. I've not known in the past. This is a wonderful town with great history, great potential, and it's already moving forward with strides with Donnie coming on board, new restaurants coming into town, and some great opportunities coming up. So again, thank you for giving me the opportunity to be part of the team, and we certainly will be keeping a great eye on Nacogdoches as it moves forward into the future and gets bigger and bigger and better and better.
Thank you, Carl, and we appreciate what you've done for us as well. We needed some stability in a time of pretty great turmoil. I think that's one of the great services that you rendered here was to get us back into a kind of an everyday routine and get us turned toward being a more professional DMO. And I think we've accomplished those things. We're going to have a reception for Carl to say thanks and happy trails. And I would like to invite all of you to join us. It's a drop-in, come-and-go reception from 4 to 6 on Tuesday, June 27th. That's next week, Tuesday, from 4 to 6, right here in the Charles Bright Visitor Center. And we will get some invitations out. I'm sure you're all on our mailing list, so we'll have something in writing for you very soon. What time? 4 to 6. I would like to congratulate Kelly and Wayne and the folks at the Chamber on the Blueberry Festival. It was a really good day. I spent the whole day downtown, either here in the Visitor Center or walking the street, and turnout was amazing. People came and they stayed. You know, usually by 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, things are starting to thin out. That just wasn't the case this year. There was a lot going on. I talked to some vendors, and they had good days. All around, very successful. Congratulations. I know how much work that must be.
Well, I'll take the congratulations because I soaked that stuff up. But I have to say it has a lot to do with the champion volunteers and partners. So there are a lot of people to thank for that. It was a true community effort.
Well, and it's really a community event that we should be very proud of. It's been a very good thing. I am going to call a special meeting of this board for July 5th, which is 2 weeks from today at 8:30 in the morning. And the agenda items will include a recommendation by the selection committee on the search process that we've discussed, and the engagement of a firm to complete the audits that we are needing to complete to get up to date on those. There may be a couple of other agenda items as well, but those two will certainly be on there. $8:30. And at that time, we will designate the time, date, and location of the next meeting. It should be our regularly scheduled meeting on the 19th. And with that, unless there's anything else we need to know, anybody have anything to?
Kelly had mentioned the social media. If you do anything, ask you with the CVB, make sure you use our hashtag, which is VisitNac. Your hashtag VisitNac. It helps.
You got that right?
Hashtag VisitNac.
Okay. All right.
I just had one question. I just thought of where are we pacing? And we're trending up the last 3 months, but where are we at pace for the year to date over last year?
We are still down as far as revenue, about 10% over last year. But as far as our occupancy goes, we are actually up by 1.2 year to date. We're down, I'm sorry, our ADR is up 1.2. We're still down about 2.9% year to date on occupancy, and probably, I've got it written down upstairs.
So about 10% in revenue?
Correct.
Does that need to be? Does anything need to be adjusted on the budget or operating budget?
We have been trying to hold the expenses down with this being understood. I've worked with Chris Hancock as far as our advertising, which is our largest, expense. We are doing very well as far as our salaries go. So I think we're in good shape. I don't think we're going to need an increase or a change in your budget because I think we should be fine. Plus the fact if we continue this rate, I think we may actually end up very close to what we had projected as far as revenues go.
Okay.
All right. There being no further business before this board, we are going to adjourn at 9:12 a.m.